Namaste, Bhagavati.
Namaste.
Very nice to see you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Welcome to the Advaita channel. Today I'm going to be reading chapter 2 of Annamalai Swami Final Talks. Question: how does the Jnani relate to his body? How does it feel to him? Annamalai Swami: the Jnani is not really aware of the body. Or if he is, he feels it like Akasha, space itself. After one of the operations to remove the tumor on Bhagavan's arm had been completed, I was worried enough to send a girl who worked for me to the ashram to ask how Bhagavan was. I could not go myself, because Bhagavan had asked me not to visit him. When this girl told Bhagavan why she had come, he started laughing very loudly. I interpreted this to mean that nothing had really happened. His laughter was a message to me that Bhagavan was not his body, and that I therefore should not be upset or worried by anything that was happening to it or happened to it. Years before, I was walking on the hill with Bhagavan when he remarked, "I don't feel the weight of the body at all. I feel as if I am walking weightlessly through the sky." I sometimes have that same feeling when I am walking around. I'm just remembering some kind of feeling around this morning. I was walking at Monte Sahaja and walking home. The sun was behind me, and I looked down and I saw the shadow, and I could see the body was walking from the shadow. And then suddenly I saw this and realized I'm not walking this body. The body was just walking. There can't be any weight in that. There can't be any weight in that for me or for you, for any of us. But when we fear that this is our body, we have to carry it up the hill, we have to carry it everywhere, then it must be very heavy. To feel as if walking weightlessly through the sky. There's no weight for the self. Questioner: I was not here yesterday. But it seems that someone asked a question about the vibration that comes off the jnani. You also apparently talked about the vibrations that ordinary people and bad people give off. Can you repeat what you said? Annamalai Swami. A jnani's vibrations stay even after he leaves the body. All people leave vibrations in the places they have been and live. Jnanis leave a good vibration, and bad people leave a bad vibration. I'm not talking about a gross physical phenomenon that everyone can feel. The vibration that the jnani leaves is subtle. Radio broadcasts can only be heard if one has a radio that is tuned to the right frequency. You tune into jnani's vibrations by having a quiet, still mind. This is the wavelength of the broadcast. If you have not tuned yourself to receive this frequency, you cannot expect to experience or to benefit from the vibrations that a jnani may have left in a place. So even if we're sitting at the feet of our master, if we don't have this quiet, still mind, then we're going to miss some of these vibrations. We're not going to be fully tuned in to this wavelength, to his broadcast, to receive his transmission, his unspoken transmission of truth. No matter how close we sit, no matter how close we try to be, we sit in his temple, at his feet, by his side, touch his clothes, his body, hold him, hug him. Nothing's going to come through. We have to be ready. In some kind of way, we have to be ready. So if you have not tuned yourself to receive this frequency, you cannot expect to experience or benefit from the vibrations that the jnani may have left in a place. Namaste, Jerome. Atma, Nikhil. Madam, all of you, thank you for joining today. Question. Is the intensity of the vibration more if we stay close to a living jnani? Annamalai Swami. Yes. Question. Is it the same with Arunachala? Annamalai Swami. Yes. No doubt about it. Bhagavan himself has said that if one lives at the foot of Arunachala, one does not need any kind of initiation. If one's intentions are pure and holy, merely living here can be a good sadhana. Guhai Namoḥ, a saint who lived on the hill a few centuries ago, said in one of his poems that this Arunachala hill draws seekers in the same way that a magnet attracts iron. In ancient times, the Shakti, the power of this hill, was hidden, but Bhagavan made it open to everybody. Bhagavan sang about this in Ramanaya, verse 98. I have made public your doings. Do not hate me for this. It was rare for Bhagavan to make such an open declaration about something that he had done or accomplished. He rarely used the word I when he referred to some event that had happened in earlier eras of his life. Sometimes he would use the passive form. Something happened to me. But at other times, he would go to the extreme of using someone else's name when he was telling a story about something that had happened to himself. So our beautiful beloved Ramana, Bhagavan, he brought so many of us to the feet of our Arunachala, to our own masters, our living masters today. Can only love him for this. Lucia, thank you for joining us. Questioner. I am going back to Europe for 2 months. It may be longer, because there is a possibility that I may have to prolong the trip. Annamalai Swami. Even if you prolong your trip, Arunachala will pull you back. Pulling back is its nature, in the same way that a magnet's nature attracts iron. Once you establish a connection with Arunachala, it will keep on pulling you towards it. You cannot resist. I haven't even been there yet, and I feel this pull so strongly. I have to go. I'm not going home. You cannot resist. The next question. So it is dangerous for us to come and visit this place? Annamalai Swami. It is only dangerous for the ego. Until we become one with Arunachala, it will pull us to kill our ego. The water in a river cannot rest where it is. The force of gravity compels the water to flow downwards back to its original source. Questioner. You said that merely living near Arunachala would be good sadhana. The same thing must be true of living near a Jnani. You have told many stories about how Bhagavan and living with Bhagavan transformed people, even those who were not making much effort to meditate or to do any other formal sadhana. Annamalai Swami. Yes, we were all immeasurably benefited by being in his presence, by doing ordinary, everyday things with him. He was always available to give advice about sadhana if anyone wanted to ask about it. But we were also benefited by his presence, by doing ordinary, everyday things with him. He was always available to give advice about sadhana. If anyone wanted to ask. But we were also benefited by his presence and by the example he set on how to live life properly. And just as if we spend some time at Monte Sahaja with Srimuji, we can do very ordinary things around him. Make tea, wash our bowls, serve lunch, sweep, wipe tables, constantly wiping dust off tables, clean toilets. And without any sadhana, this is the sadhana, being in the presence of the Master. And with our beloved Father Anantaji, we live in a hangout with him. I spend many hours every day living in a hangout with him. I feel like it's a room of my home. And he too benefits me with his presence and his example of how to live life properly. A living example. For much of the time, Bhagavan would appear to be a lenient, tolerant, easygoing father. If we didn't follow his instructions about various aspects of our lives, it would seem for a while that he was allowing us to go our own way. Sometimes it would even seem as if he were approving some of the wrong things that we were doing. But slowly, when the time was right, he would lead us back to his own way. It's a beautiful, kind, sweet Father. And I feel his presence when I sit with our own beloved Father, Ananta. Question. So when people did things really bad, didn't complain or interfere? Annamalai Swami. When Bhagavan lived in Mango Tree Cave, a man called Jada Swami gave him a lot of trouble. At the beginning of their relationship, whenever Jada Swami conducted a puja, he would invite Bhagavan along and then ask him to bang the drum at the culmination of the ceremony. This effectively relegated Bhagavan to being a minor functionary in Jada Swami's puja. Jada Swami would put on quite a good show, so much so that many passing pilgrims or members of the public would be attracted to these ceremonies. It helped, of course, that Jada Swami took quite an imposing figure. With his long, matted hair and fierce look, he looked like an archetypal ascetic sadhu. However, many people attending the pujas noticed the radiant expression on the face of the young boy who was banging the drum. And some of them began to prostrate to him, because they could detect something of his radiant holiness. Jada Swami got very jealous when he saw this happening, but he tried to recoup some of his self-esteem by telling these visitors, "He is my disciple, so you can do namaskar to him as well." Nice move. Bhagavan never objected when Jada Swami behaved like this, or made untrue claims about being a disciple. When it became clear that Bhagavan was going to attract a big following of his own, Jada Swami got jealous and tried to drive him off the hill. Can we imagine someone trying to remove Ramana from Arunachala? How could those two ever be separated? On one occasion, when Bhagavan was sitting outside Virupakasha cave, Jada Swami even tried to kill him by rolling a big boulder onto him. Bhagavan, who was sitting with his back to Jada Swami, got an early warning of the attack when he heard some little pebbles cascading down behind the rock. Bhagavan jumped and caught Jadaswami red-handed. When he confronted him and asked what he was doing, Jadaswami tried to bluff his way out of it by saying he was playing a practical joke. "I was just doing it to see if you would get afraid," he said. Bhagavan never criticized him, even after this incident, and the two of them continued to live side by side on the hill for several years afterwards. Question: this behavior, these things that Jadaswami did, they're not the sort of thing that one would expect from a sadhu living on Arunachal. Annamalai Swami. Guhai Namoḥ, who lived on the hill several centuries ago, was also known for his bad temper. In one famous incident, he cursed a group of weavers who had been causing him trouble. Within a short time, all their businesses failed. The curse was apparently a long-lasting one, for in the years that followed, all attempts to start weaving businesses in Tiruvannamalai failed. Questioner: so would you say Bhagavan was very tolerant of people who treated him badly? Annamalai Swami: yes. He never responded in a negative way to criticism. Sometimes he would even laugh when people said bad things about him. He was indifferent to praise and blame. They didn't touch him. Only a person would care about such things. Only an ego would be touched by such things. When Perumal Swami printed his insulting book about Bhagavan, Bhagavan simply said, "Keep the book in the front of the ashram so people can read it there. The good people won't believe it. But when the bad people read it, they will stay away and leave me in peace." This happened in the 1930s, at a time when large crowds of people were starting to come to Ramanaya ashram. Perumal Swami did a good job of distributing the book himself, for many of the casual visitors from town stopped coming. It was a bit of a break for us, because many people would just come at meal times, hoping to get a free meal. These freeloaders were a disturbance for all of us. And now Sundaram speaks. Sundaram was Annamalai Swami's translator. The same thing is happening here. We cooked a special meal for Purnavasu and invited some devotees to eat. Without telling Swami, one man brought 17 extra people, none of whom were devotees. We had never seen any of them before. We had only cooked food for 15 people. If one or two extra people had come, we would have managed. But we couldn't give a meal to all these extra people. We divided the food up into very small quantities and fed all these unknown people who had just shown up to eat. When the meal was over, they started wandering around, making a nuisance of themselves. They disturbed the people who were still cooking in the kitchen, and they stole the sandals of one of our devotees. Swami doesn't mind meeting with sadhaks who want to discuss important spiritual matters, but he doesn't like these functions where lots of people come. He is very weak most of the time, and he wants to save his energy for important matters. Annamalai Swami replies, laughing, I just give vibhuti to most of the people who come. But no matter how much I discourage visitors, they still come, often for no good reason at all. I am physically weak, so I can only deal with people for short periods nowadays. I am a bit like a well that is fed by a small spring. A few people taking buckets of water out at the same time will empty the well. Then they will have to wait some time for the water to flow again to replenish the well before they can take more water. We've seen this happen with our beloved Father and beloved Guruji, sometimes after retreats or intensive periods of satsang, and they come to us and say, I must take rest now. This is why we must just return their generosity, all their seva to us, all their giving of satsang. And these buckets that we take out of that well, and we must return that kindness, however we can, and whenever they need to rest, that we allow them that time and that space from us, and not trouble them, so that the source can refill their well, and they can replenish the thirst of many, many others this way. Such a beautiful analogy. Our beloved teachers, our beloved masters, are the well, this well of wisdom, the truth, and the source, the absolute, the water in the well, the one who speaks to us through their lips and holds us with their bodies. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Srimati Ji. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Anantaji. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for joining. Love you. Love you, Adam. Thank you for joining me in the hangout. Bye, everyone on YouTube. Thank you. Love you.